Yeah, one time, pray for peace. Out here every day on these streets. Shout out to Pete. Pray for peace, prepare for warfare. Life's a bitch and she ain't never fair. Live in the moment without much care. Cause everybody want it all but only getting shares. Pray for peace, prepare for warfare. Life's a bitch and she ain't never fair. Live in the moment without much care. And everybody want it all but only getting shares. I'm afraid the most when I'm alone with my own thoughts. Can't stand to take a loss, so my goal is to win it all costs. Stepping over, even leaving behind. Always been a loner, cause loyalty is hard to find.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of VaMo Radio. I'm here today with Yasmine Vine. Hey Yasmine, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, dear. I'm really glad to actually get into this interview. You have a lot of amazing things about you as well as accomplishments. But before we get
Thank you.
into that, I want to kind of talk about how did you become a singer or what kind of inspired you to get into the music business?
Well, I was always inspired by anything and everything musical. And I was always very inspired by old Hollywood, like old glamorous Hollywood. And I remember as a child watching Marilyn Monroe a lot. And I think she's a continued inspiration. And so I always, and then I started dreaming of songs, like just I would come up with songs and dreams since I was like 7 years old. So I just always was linked to writing songs, creating music, and then I had a passion for performance
Wow.
as well. And since I grew up in the Middle East and Iran, and it's a very like repressed country, and women aren't allowed to sing and women aren't allowed to dance, it just made that desire grow even more. So it was like something that I was like, I really have to do this.
Absolutely. I'm actually really glad that you did. You have a beautiful voice, so it's
Oh, thank
amazing.
you.
And also
Thank you
speaking
so
of your
much.
music, your singles, Mannequin, and Social Distance that you actually have out, they actually have pretty much deeper meanings behind them, and the lyrics are very integral and unique. So can you kind of tell us what was the meaning behind creating those two songs?
Well, it's interesting because Mannequin, I actually, like I said, I dream a lot of songs and I have since I was little. And I actually had a dream of Betty Davis, yes. And I had a dream that she said, so I live in Hollywood. I live in the heart of Hollywood, near, where all the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame are and everything like that.
Yes.
And the Madame Tussauds is right here with all the mannequins of
Wow.
stars. And I had a dream that Betty Davis said, write a song about the Hollywood mannequins and include me. And the melody came with it. So I was like, okay. So, it's not a song that I would have written myself. But after writing it, I'm like, oh my God, this song is so me because I love Hollywood so much. And
Wow.
it's my favorite song.
That's fantastic. And also about social distance as well, which actually the title is kind of in relation to what we're doing now with COVID-19. Can you give us kind of like a detail what's behind that?
Sure. So last year, when all this craziness began, and I believe it began this time last year, and I was, when you're an artist, the best thing to do in a crisis is to create art. And I wanted to write a song about social distance and making kind of uh, not light of the situation, but kind of softening the fear of it. And so I wrote this song, and what I did was, I don't know if you saw the video, the original music video for it. I put out a casting notice for people to send me clips of what they're doing in quarantine. And I got over 900 submissions, which was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, and so obviously I couldn't use all 900, but so many artists were just on board and ready and willing to be a part of something creative, to make social distancing somewhat of a positive thing. So we created that video. It did pretty well on YouTube. And then a friend of mine in New York contacted me. He said he wanted to make a remix of it, and he made the remix, and it came down to LA, Gabe Villanueva, and he created, it was all his vision, the remix video. So he created that one, and was just released about a month ago. So it's still doing pretty well.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'm actually really glad that we have people like you who are still trying to spread positive light, especially in this situation that we're going through, where we're kind of still seeing, deaths around the world. The spreading is still happening, but right now we're still trying to keep positive and keep light up. So I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Also talking about some of the other work that you're doing, your screenplay you were telling me about, you're actually working on it. It's about basically your background of what you've done in your music, your other achievements as well, your religion. So can you kind of tell us, like, how's the process coming along? And can you kind of give us a little sneak peek of what's to see?
Sure. So I started a few years ago writing a book about growing up Muslim in the Middle East and then moving to America and kind of releasing all my inhibitions. And I started my career as a burlesque performer. And I was a burlesque dancer for several years. And that was a great opportunity for me to be able to share my music when I was performing. But I started writing because there's a lot of things happening in the Middle East even now that people are unaware of. And so the whole process of, I was very Muslim myself. And so the whole process of my transformation and growing up there and all the things that happened to me there, and then coming here and kind of, learning how to release my inhibitions and becoming a performer and gaining the confidence it requires to do burlesque. I was writing a book about that. And I sent the book proposal to many book publishers, and anyone I would send it to would say, this should be a movie, this should be a movie. And someone wanted to buy the rights of my story. And I wasn't really ready to do that at the time. So I just kind of let it go. And then, actually during quarantine last year, I had like this light bulb moment. Well, why don't I make the movie, and give myself the lead role. And so, during quarantine, there was so many free classes offered, but, everywhere. And a friend of mine told me about a screenwriting class, and it was a short story screenwriting class. So I took it, and I actually wrote a cartoon because I had just adopted a black cat. So just for practice, I created a cartoon of like the struggles of a black cat getting adopted, because they have all this, like black cats are bad luck. And so I made this funny cartoon, and that's actually in process now. The cartoonist is working on it. Then I wrote my first script. So I was like, okay, I can do this. And then the teacher, John Warren, who is a screenwriting teacher in New York, and he's the one having these online classes, he was now offering feature films. So I was like, okay, great. So I started taking that this year, and the script is in process for my story now.
Wow. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm really congratulations on that as well. And also wanted to know, right now, with your career, the way it's going, of course, right now there are no promises because of COVID-19. It has kind of like put a little bit of a stop on the music industry, or not really a stop, but more of a pause. So can you kind of tell us, where do you see yourself or see your career in 5 years?
Well, I would like to have success for my music for certain. And I would like to also write for other artists, because I write so many songs, and I have books and books of songs, and they're all of different genres. And I don't want to be singing all the genres. So, like I don't do country, but I have written a couple of country songs because they just kind of come through me. So I just, write them. So I'd love to write for other artists as well as for myself. And, learning screenwriting, I really have fallen in love with it, with the cartoon, with my story. And so I would really love making movies as well as doing music in the future.
Wow, absolutely. Yasmin, can you tell us, where can we stay connected with you, like on social media, or even check out some of your music?
Well, I'm on iTunes and Spotify under Yasmine Vine. And my Instagram is at Yazzie Vine, which is YAZZIVINE. My website is yasminevine.com. My Twitter is Yasmine Vine. And I'm also on SoundCloud as Yasmine Vine, and I'm on Bandcamp as well.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yasmin, I really appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you so
for
much.
joining. You guys, you can check out the interview again by visiting VaMo-radio.com. It'll also be up on our YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much, Yasmin.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful meeting you. Thank you.
Yeah, one time, pray for peace. Out here every day on the streets. Shout out to Pete. Pray for peace, prepare for warfare. Life's a bitch and she ain't never fair. Live in the moment without much care. Cause everybody want it all but only getting